Look what Catherine found us for Christmas this year. Let me reach into this bag. Don't bite me. Please don't bite me.
Oh God.
Oh God.
Oh God.
Oh God.
What's happening?
Oh no.
Oh God.
Okay, I got it. Are y'all ready? Are you ready? Look how tiny. Look how stinking cute that is. It's a baby button quail. It is Monday afternoon. It has been frozen solid since Friday. Temperatures haven't been above freezing since Thursday, about midnight, a little before I think. I think the temperatures technically got to 34 degrees today, which is above freezing, but everything is still frozen solid. The animals still have to be fed and watered. So the number one thing to do is, you're going to think it's to protect the animals, but it's not. Protect yourselves. You're of no good to the animals whatsoever if your fingers are falling off due to frostbite gangrene. So protect yourself. Wear heavy coats, lots and lots of layers. I know here in the South we don't normally have really heavy coats and stuff, but it's your responsibility to make sure that you can protect yourself. So buy a big heavy coat. Most of us down here are deer hunters anyhow, so we've got heavy coats. Socks and gloves are very, very important. If they ever get wet, change them immediately. Carry around lots and lots of pairs of gloves with you so that if they get wet, you can just immediately change them out. I keep pairs of gloves in the pockets of my coats. I keep several pairs with me, and if they get wet, then you just immediately change them. A trick that I was taught when I was a kid is put on a pair of socks and put a plastic bag over that pair of socks and then put your foot down inside your shoe. Yeah, you're going to sound kind of funny walking around out in the yard, but the plastic bag is going to protect your sock from getting wet. If your feet and your fingers stay dry, you're going to stay a whole lot warmer. And wear a hat. Wear a hat of some kind just to protect yourself. This hat's too big and floppy for me. But I've got plenty of hair on top of my head. Protect yourself. That is rule number one. Tip number one. How about that? So tip number two is going to be bring inside all vulnerable animals. Anything that cannot withstand the cold with reasonable protection, being wind blocks and rain protection and a couple of heat lamps. If that's not going to do the job, then you got to bring it inside. There are some animals that I just don't bother keeping because they're going to be too hard, too difficult to keep. A lot of the like a toucan is never going to be able to withstand cold weather like this. Whereas our Tarraco, he does just fine. The colder the better it seems for him. Even though he comes from tropical Africa, he doesn't seem to care for the heat. Not once this whole weekend. 4 days now? 3 days? 4 days? Through this frozen, horrible winter mess. Not once have I observed him under a heat lamp. Hey, Blueberry. Hey. You're not cold, are you? Nope. I got heat lamps on the macaws. But Blueberry, he's not cold at all. Whereas the little parrotlets that I have, they're all inside with us. They're not 20 of them, 30 of them, however many there are, they're all inside. That was an ordeal Wednesday and Thursday, catching them all up and bringing them inside to a heated room. If I keep them long term, I'm going to have to do something totally different because this is not sustainable for us, and it's certainly not fair to them to be kept like this. So make sure that everything is protected. If you're cold, they're cold, bring them inside thing, that works with some animals. But if we had tried to bring this one inside, he would have tore the house down. Of course, the Chihuahua's been inside all weekend. The cat's been inside all weekend. Of course, Oliver, he's been inside for a week now. Hey, Justice. You don't want to be inside, do you? You like the cold, don't you? Yeah. This is tip 2, so sub-tip 1, wrap everything in plastic. Here's a bonus tip. Use these gem clips. These little clips you get real cheap at the dollar store. These hold the plastic onto the cages very, very well. Use heat lamps judiciously. I've got at least a dozen heat lamps running around, mostly for the macaws. The cockatiels don't care if it's cold. The ringnecks certainly don't care. I have 3 pairs of ringnecks and a pair of Alexandrian ringnecks that have eggs right now, and it's still December. Rarely ever have I ever had any to lay this early, but a week ago it was almost 80 degrees here. I don't give any real hope of those ringneck eggs hatching. They may be froze solid in here. I'll kindle those eggs in about a week and see if any are fertile and developing, and we'll see what's going on with that. Temperatures dropped almost 50 degrees Thursday night, early Friday morning, overnight. More than 40 degrees the temperatures dropped that one night. Gushing winds. It was crazy. It was like a tornado blowing through here. Never have experienced that, and I've lived through the blizzard of 93 when we had 3 feet of snow on the ground. So protect your animals. Do whatever you can to protect them. Some birds are going to continue to lay no matter what, like these little button quail. I got them covered. They have a heat lamp. They're plenty warm enough. I'm not sure that these eggs are viable though. This is just from one cage today. I've got 7 more cages of button quail. I'm gonna have to toss all those eggs, I'm afraid. I'll probably, well, Oliver will get some. I'll probably feed the rest to the dogs. And speaking of girls continuing to lay, these ladies, there are 4 of them, and they're sharing a nest that they've scratched out here in a corner. And they have 3 eggs that they're sitting on, and they're fighting over them, sharing responsibilities. I'm going to let them continue to incubate these 3 eggs. I have absolutely no hope that they're going to hatch, but in the meantime, it may keep them from continuing to lay. I think I forgot to say Merry Christmas to you. We did have Christmas yesterday. We had a wonderful time at church Saturday night and yesterday morning, and opened gifts yesterday. We've even had a little Christmas get together today with some other family members. My sister and her daughter just had a wonderful time. So Merry Christmas to you. But honestly, most of this weekend's just been survival for us. Bonus tip: don't be like a know-it-all 21-year-old and come out barefoot in shorts in the middle of winter during a frozen Icepocalypse. Tip number 3: lots of food and lots of water. Fresh running water. Running as in not frozen liquid water, not solid water, not ice, is terribly important to the animals this time of year. The most difficult part through this whole thing for us, apart from the impending power bill, is providing liquid water for all the animals. Y'all know we use automatic watering for the birds, and I simply don't have enough water bowls to provide water for all of them, so I use disposable paper bowls. That makes life kind of easy, but it's just an extra step having to dish that water out. We have to carry water from the house, because despite our best efforts of leaving water dripping from the faucets, they all still froze solid. We have 15 faucets out in the yard. 3 of them froze solid that first night. It's all PEX pipe. Hopefully it's not going to burst. We hoping for the best. Again, it's the South. This rarely ever happens. Never remember it staying below freezing for this length of time ever in my whole entire almost 50 years of life. 4 days of below freezing temperature is pretty rough. So we're just not prepared for this. You know, it's like when it snows, the whole South shuts down because the municipalities, the cities and towns and counties around, they don't have the equipment to shovel snow. Nobody has a snow blower this far south. Maybe we put out some ice on the sidewalks and steps, that sort of thing. But providing drinkable water has been the hardest thing this whole weekend for us. As far as food goes, you want lots of calories, nutrient-dense foods. Now is not the time for chopped kale and cucumbers. This is not the time of year for that. If you have outdoor birds, even in heated barns like mine are, you see the heat lamp shining behind me. This is not the time of year for that. Yes, there are some of our birds that have to have it year-round, like the Turako, like the lorikeets. But by and large, you want high-fat, high carbohydrate food. So, lots of seeds, lots of dry pellets, that sort of thing. Food is the easy part. Like I said, running water is difficult. I've said every year that I need to invest in more cold weather equipment. They make heated garden hoses, and I'm just going to have to find one of those. They're on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description for those. That would be really, really handy to have, wouldn't it? We have some of the heated water bowls out in the goat barn for those animals, and that works really well for them. But carrying buckets of water down, most of the pipes didn't freeze until last night. So we had running water up until yesterday, Christmas Day. But today we've had to carry buckets of water all day long, and it has been a pain and a challenge. So those are my 3 top tips. Keep yourself safe, keep the birds safe, keep them well fed. Running water is very important. Don't think that your chickens and ducks can eat ice. That's not a possibility. I've heard people say that. Even saw it on some of the Facebook chicken groups here, located here in Birmingham area, on Facebook today. Your chickens and ducks are not going to survive by pecking at ice, especially 4 days of it being frozen. That is not a possibility. That's not going to happen. You give those birds some food and some water. All your animals, you take care of them best that you can. Keep yourself safe. Keep the birds safe. Keep everything fed and watered. God bless you. We love you. Bye-bye. I don't know where you can get fire.